Hey, I'm back. So I'm going through my office, organizing my stuff for the open studio, and my office is a mess. um, so when I was kind of a student artist, my mom was friends with a woman who was an artist, and she had a family. She was adulting and showing her work, and I would visit her sometimes. She was a ceramic artist who's passed away now, but I would visit her, and sometimes she'd give me good tips and teach me about art and whatever. It was great. And one of the pieces of advice she told me is, keep all your work, because when you're older, you might want to check on your student work and see what it looks like, and you know, look at it later and want to have it for posterity or what have you. That might work for some people, and I think maybe she meant that, keep a few pieces, maybe the best pieces or something like that. I kept everything, guys. Everything from like high school, college. Well, not everything from high school, but a lot from high school and even most from college. Um, and so last year I went through and threw away, like, I don't know, 4 bags full of drawings, sketches, things that were just not that good. A lot of figure drawings that were half finished or just like a line on a page because it was newsprint and it just wasn't very good quality. Um, so now I'm going through the rest of it, and most of my canvases are out in the living room, but I have, I'll show you guys this mess here. This is my desk here. I've got, supplies there, and other supplies here, and some of my print work, etchings, things like that, aqua tints, some supplies, some other watercolor, mixed media work. Here's my etching press / lino press over there with some stuff on it. I've got some watercolor ink drawings, some pattern design work, blank canvases and stretchers, and piles of ink drawings, pencil drawings, various medium drawings. This is my art, what do you call this? Sewing table. You can see one of my sewing machines here. And then, some more supplies, and this cabinet has more supplies. So, oh, and I forgot to show you some sewing that is waiting to be done. And here's some stuff that I've already gone through. So most of this stuff is either paper that I can use or a few pieces that I don't want to sell, but like I kind of want to keep because I like something about it that I might want to process and use for a later piece. I'm kind of trying to work on my style and kind of hone in on what I'm going to be doing kind of more permanently. Is that the right word for it? I don't know. But that's kind of my thought is building a style for longevity, work that I can really be proud of and enjoy and share. So if that makes sense. I'll show you guys some actual pieces maybe a little bit later, but this is what it looks like when you haven't really processed what your art process is. And there's some printmaking supplies there in a bin. So there. So if you're wondering why I might have this much artwork still, and why I haven't thrown it out, I had a hard time throwing things out, believe it or not. My husband would probably categorize me as a hoarder. I don't try to be. I try to get rid of things. For some reason, art supplies specifically are harder for me than other things. I continually go through my closet and empty that out of things I don't wear. Same with my kids, even their toys sometimes. I don't touch my husband's stuff because he's particular about his things, but he's also very militant about not having a lot of things. Like if he reads through a book, doesn't like it, it goes straight in the shred pile or giveaway pile. We have those little free libraries where we can drop stuff off and give books away, so that's a cool thing. But yeah, artwork, I don't know. I think maybe I couldn't figure out a direction before with my artwork. I think because I felt like I had to keep it all. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't feel like I have a cohesive style. I wasn't ready to sell the artwork. I couldn't display it. I've had some shows over the years, but I don't think I ever sold much. I sold a few things here and there, but it's been an interesting ride with that. I don't mind showing my work. I won't even mind selling it so much, but it's the trying to figure out what kind of show I would put on or what I would show. That's been the trick, and I think over the years, because of that, I've stopped creating as much, just because the artwork itself, I wasn't sure what to do with it. There was so much that it just kind of paralyzed me. So I've done, pattern design, I've done calligraphy, and I've done work that I like, that I've hung up on my walls, and that's what I've kept. And I do have some work that I've started and not finished yet as far as oil paintings go. Part of that was due to a space issue, just because I didn't have space to paint. And since I had kids the last, 6 or so years, I haven't wanted to have oil paint out because I'm afraid they're going to touch it. I probably mentioned this more than once. So that's why I've stocked in materials that I can clean up and put away once I'm done, and they won't be wet and sticky and available to small hands. That said, I've done printmaking with my daughter. She's done lino prints since she was like 4. So it's not something I don't do with them, but at this point my office is so piled full of stuff that like I can't even do that with her. And I would love to do so. We've done some like on styrofoam and stuff, which was not high enough quality for her anymore because she's done lino. My son was kind of excited about it and had fun just doing it because it was fun and messy. So now my goal is to I've already piled some stuff to get rid of. Some stuff is in the trash already. Some is going out the door. Some is going to Goodwill, just frames and stuff that I've for some reason accumulated a lot of frames, and when I've looked at them, the quality is not that great, so now I'm getting rid of them. But I think we've had so much stuff in the house for me to go through with all the baby clothes and baby toys and baby everything and adult everything. I like to reuse things if I can, and I've had friends and neighbors giving us clothes and things, so I've gone through clothes. I've shared clothes with others. People have given me so many clothes. I literally have a closet that's bursting, and I need to go through it again and sort it out because I've got a lot of clothes. And I do buy some occasionally, but I'm very picky about what I buy, and so I don't buy a ton of clothes. I think the statistic now is like people buy like 62 new pieces of clothing a year. I think for some people that's a low end estimate. For me, I think that's a little on the high end. Maybe if you count everybody in our house all together, we might buy that many in a year. But we kind of, not minimalist. We keep our clothes and we try to, wear them nicely. But I just don't want to buy a bunch of cheap junk, because to me, clothing is something that it's on my body. I'm going to buy organic cotton. I know some people are going to say that's not sustainable. But it's a lot more sustainable than polyester or something that's going out into the environment and destroying the oceans, and that we're breathing the fibers of the plastics into our lungs and it's going into our brains. Not to get on a weird eco kick, but that's why I'm particular about my clothes. I don't know how I got to that. Why am I talking about clothes? What was I talking about? Anyway, a lot of stuff. So I actually wanted to do open studios a couple of years ago several years ago now, before I got pregnant. And I still had all this stuff, and I just didn't know how to do an open studio and how to be brave enough to do that. Some of the fact that I can actually talk to you guys like this and not be crying while I'm talking is because of the years of yoga that I've done and meditation, and that has relieved a lot of the crazy anxiety that I had when I was growing up. So that's step one of all the process that I've been through, and now I'm finally getting to the artwork. I'm not sure why it's at this point, but it is. And I'm grateful. I think part of it is actually participating in the open studio and having to make sure that what I put out there is presentable and somewhat cohesive. And because I have so many different kinds of mediums that I've used just as an experiment, I feel like some of it, there's certain genres like figures I've done a lot. I've done florals a lot. And then there's some things that are just kind of one-offs that I was interested in doing and did quickly, watercolors especially, and drawings and things like that. So now I'm kind of looking, you see this canvas behind me, it's like haunting me. I want to put some gesso on it and start painting it. But until I clear out this office space, I can't do that. So I think I might actually do some oil on this. It's not a huge, it might be like a 12 by 12 or 14 by 14. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying that. I got rid of my acrylic paints at one point when my daughter was like a year old. I did some paintings with her that were sort of weird looking, but we would just squirt paint on canvas and put saran wrap over it. And then I'm going to show you a piece that we did, and then peel the saran wrap, and it gets this kind of cool texture. So I used up all my acrylic paint doing that. But then I went ahead, I was going to do a mural in my living room, and I bought more acrylic paint to do a mural. And now it turns out I don't have time to do the mural because, anyway, long story, we might be moving in the next year or so. And my husband's like, why are you going to do a mural if we're going to sell the house? So I have acrylic paints again. And on top of all the other things that I'm storing. So anyway, here's just a picture of the thing that I did with my daughter. So this is what I'm talking about, this cool texture that comes out when you peel the saran wrap off of these globs of paint that you've been poking around with your finger. And so it was a lot of fun, and using up the acrylic paints that way. It's not quite a pour like some people are doing with whatever they do with their acrylics. I'm not into the pours. It's a cool process from what I see in the videos, but it's just not me. This is more me being able to manipulate what happens to the colors as I'm doing this canvas. So it's kind of fun. But I haven't done it since because I really was just doing it to do something with my daughter and to use up the acrylic paints because I was trying to create more space for myself. And yeah, that kind of worked for a while, but not so much right now. Work that I did for my thesis in college was all these self-portraits with ink, and so I've done a ton in various formats. It's about sort of, well, it's a long story. There's a lot of other portraits too, some kitty cats. Went through a whole phase of ink wash on rice paper and doing and watercolor paper as well. I've done pencil drawings, other ink work that includes colored ink as well as this kind of a mixed media piece. It has some watercolor pencil and things with it. I've done colored pencil, chalk, and whatever these other things are. I'm drawing a bad blank on it. Conti crayons, that's that reddish stuff over there, and that's another portrait. These are some figure drawings. I've also always been fascinated by construction, so I've done some pictures of things that were being built that I could watch being built, and that was interesting. And then more things, all the things and patterns and whatnot. So this is what I'm going through, and hopefully something comes out of this so I can create more space for more artwork, the new work that I can keep going with. So this is the extra stuff that's in my living room. So I promised some canvases. This is some of my bookmaking materials and some books that I use as weights for that. This is all out here because I was doing my we were having our windows replaced, and so I have things. That's some homeschool stuff for my kids. A lot of stuff out here. So working through that. next after I figure out the drawings in my office and the paperwork, works on paper that are there. So now you know the history behind the office and what I'm sharing now. That one piece that I showed you with the ink mixed media tree shape and the bright green, I actually have a few more of those, I think, in the living room. It was a series that I did, and I put in frames, which I showed at the Orlando Public Library in a show. So that was actually a piece that I really enjoyed. So I'm trying to hone in on my style and see what I'm actually wanting to do with it. Maybe you guys can tell me when I show my work if you guys see any cohesive elements to it. What do you notice that is related to each other, towards the style? Sometimes it's easier if other people see the work than you when you're looking at it yourself, because you're so used to seeing it. Anyway, leave some comments down below. Do you ever struggle with just like getting rid of artwork that you find precious for too long? I've still got a couple portfolios to empty out, or at least some of it, and cut back. Have you ever tried to get like a flat file for artwork? I would love one of those in my office. Manifesting here of clearing out some space and sticking a flat file in my office so that I can better store my artwork, so that it's not in these cheap portfolios, because I'm starting to really get frustrated with them, and I think I'm going to invest in some bigger stuff. So anyway, what's your next dream for your art space? Let me know below.